Chris, what is our third main topic today?
Our third topic comes from Jeremy Sutter. Hello, John and crew. Just started watching you guys a few weeks ago, and now you're part of my daily routine.
Thank you, Jeremy.
So my question is about Doctor Strange's runtime. I think we were surprised when we heard the movie was just over 2 hours, and now Sam Raimi just said the cut he submitted to Marvel was 2 hours and 40 minutes. Why do you think they cut so much out of the film? Thanks.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in, Jeremy. And yeah, there was the fires of Gondor were lit in panic, Rob, when it was announced that the runtime for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was 2 hours and 6 minutes. Because somehow, some way, over the past year or two, there's been this false belief that's gone out there that longer runtime equals better. And so when people heard that Doctor Strange was 2 hours and 6 minutes, that's not long enough. You can't fit everything in. It's like, well, the original Star Wars, who we never met Han or Luke or 3PO or Vader or knew anything about the Empire or Obi-Wan Kenobi or lightsabers of the Force or Jedis or anything like that. And that movie was 2 hours, and I heard it did pretty well. But there had been this concept. So Sam Raimi was just recently discussing this whole situation. He mentioned that he had turned in a cut of the film that was indeed 2 hours and 40 minutes long. This is what Sam Raimi had to say. He said the following. He said, well, the first cut was, I actually don't remember the length of it. It was probably like 2 hours and 40 minutes. And it slowly came down even though we did the reshoots. We took out material even though the reshoots went in. So it slowly got down to about 2 hours and 5 minutes is the total. And that, of course, comes us from director Sam Raimi. Now, he's actually a little bit off. The actual total runtime is 2 hours and 6 minutes. So that is the ultimate runtime. But still, you're talking about roughly about 35 minutes shorter. To which I had some people writing to me and saying, John, why did Marvel cut out 35 minutes of his movie? And this brings us around to a discussion that we often have to have. Sam Raimi never said his final version of the movie was 2 hours and 40 minutes.
He said very specifically first cut.
First cut.
Which is actually 2 hours and 40 minutes is pretty short.
For first cut.
Cut.
So, I mean, and this is something that we've discussed a lot around here, that a first cut of the film, the director's always talking about, and it always changes from there. That was never meant to be the final version of the film. So I'm Sam Raimi saying, yeah, so first cut is about 240 and, down to about 205, which it's really 206. But still, there are a lot of fans out there who just think longer is better. Longer is better. There's a "that's what she said" joke in there somewhere, but I can't find it right now. Longer is better. Longer is better. So a lot of people, why not just leave it at 2 hours and 40 minutes? Well, I would actually contend that if you just leave it at 2 hours and 40 minutes, it's not really a Sam Raimi movie. Actually, I started thinking about this. When you actually go back and start thinking about Sam Raimi's comic book films and even like his most recent directorial effort, which I believe was Oz the Great and Powerful, his movies all kind of live in this neighborhood. I put this little chart together. Here's the thing. So if you go right all the way back to Spider-Man 1, it was 121 minutes. Spider-Man 2 was 127 minutes. Spider-Man 2, which is considered by many people amongst the greatest comic book films ever made. Mm-hmm. Spider-Man 3 is the longest he did, which is 139 minutes or 2 hours and 19 minutes. And then his last film, Oz the Great and Powerful, was 2 hours and 10 minutes at 130 minutes. And now Doctor Strange 2, 126 minutes, 2 hours and 6 minutes, which makes it 5 minutes longer than the first Spider-Man, only 1 minute short of one of the greatest comic book movies of all time in Spider-Man 2, and only about, what are we talking about here, 9 minutes short? No, 13 minutes short of Spider-Man 3.
And those 13 minutes were just dancing. So
it was a lot of dancing.
We don't need that.
Some sharp dancing that has given the world a lot of joy in the last 15 years.
That's fair.
With all the memes that we got. So really, it's a movie that lives right where Sam Raimi likes his films to be. So number one, it was a first cut. Number two, I don't think Marvel forced him to make it 2 hours and 6 minutes, because this is roughly, as we just saw in that chart, this is really where he likes his movies to live. So basically, I think it's, don't panic. Everything is as it should be. Anyway, Rob, you had a chance to see what Sam Raimi talked about. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think there's maybe a world where they could have kept it at 240? Do you think maybe he should have made it longer? Where are your thoughts on this?
Well, because we've all seen the first 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. The movie has a breakneck locomotive.
Yes, it does.
Screaming down the track's pace.
At least for the first
For the
bit that we
first
saw.
20 minutes. I mean, that's one of the things I like the most about it. It's like breathless. And I felt exhilarated watching it. They are putting in lore. They are putting in character development. They're putting in not just one, but two crazy monsters. I mean, there's fighting. There's and another character shows up, and you're like, yeah, man. I mean, I watched that 20 minutes, and I was elated. I think we all were. Like, this is awesome. I mean, look, do I like to watch 2.5 hours or 3 hours of Marvel lore? Sure, I'll do that. But the pace has to be right for the film.
Right.
And it is the multiverse of madness. It's not about the multiverse of, I don't know, what would be a equivalent, a slow boat to China. You know, it's not, it's fast, it's furious, it's exciting, it's edge of your seat awesomeness. And I don't want it to be slow. Yeah. I mean, it's paced well.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, you're hearing this. What do you think of it?
Well, as we've said on this show before, it is not the length, it is how you use it.
Yes.
All right, there it is. And as an editor, I mean, Rob, you know this, like sometimes there is just fat to cut. Sometimes there are things where you are just constantly telling people things instead of showing them.
Also, you know, when you're editing a movie, traditionally I have found that dialogue scenes tend to always run long.
Mm-hmm.
Because as they're written on the page and as they're shot, when you've watched the film in context, a lot of the dialogue exchanges are self-evident in what you've seen in the footage. You're like, oh, the audience will get that. We don't have to state it again. So over the course of 2 hours and 40 minutes, I'll bet you the dialogue scenes all came down by a third.
Oh,
you know, just in
absolutely.
terms of the length of each individual scene. You wouldn't even know that they're gone. And it'll bring that running time down.
And whenever we write a conversation, too, we always think we're being incredibly clever.
Yeah.
And then we go, oh, this is not how people talk, even in a multiverse.
Yeah, and wow, this is just 5 minutes of a camera going back and forth between two faces. You know what the funny thing is, too? As I read through a lot of the reactions and reviews of Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, and, you know, not everybody loves it. It's hovering around an 80% right now. But even amongst the negative reviews, the criticism I have not seen yet, I have not read one single reaction scene that said, I felt like this movie needed more room to breathe. And some movies will, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've said that about some movies, that some movies needed to be longer, some movies needed to be shorter. But even amongst the people who didn't love this film, I haven't read anybody say this movie needed another 15 minutes. You know, for instance, like Ray, I know that you were very disappointed to find out this movie was only 2 hours and 5 minutes. Like, you wanted this to
You
be a
wanted the
4-hour
240.
War and Peace kind of thing.
With this movie, it doesn't matter how long it was or it is going to be. I'm going to be confused no matter what. I already know that. I just hope that I get to see some action. I don't know.
Be confused no matter what.
But 3 hours is long. But I made it through the Batman, and that was like
You did.
Yeah.
that was kind of like it's not going to be as crazy as this movie. So 2 hours is going to be fine.
Yeah, I think it's going to run just fine.
I like what you said about the breathing thing, too, here, because some films don't need to be decanted, right?
Right.
And if the first 20 minutes of this are evident, this is a straight shot, and that's what I want. I want this to be a neat whiskey, is how it's feeling right
Good
now.
liquor analogies.
What
there.
we saw in CinemaCon was cut footage.
Yeah.
That's not even in the movie.
It's not even in the movie. They just cut out the 20 minutes. That was part of it. Sam watches the show, and
Robin's
he was like, I
excited
want...
about something we didn't even see.
No, I just love the idea of movies don't have to always be decanted. That is a concept that I've never heard before. I'm going to incorporate that into my worldview.
That's so sad. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Director Sam Raimi says his first submitted cut of the film was 2 hours and 40 minutes. Obviously, it never ends up at that. And now we're down to 2 hours and 6. Are you guys feeling like you kind of wish it was longer? Are you saying, nah, man, just give it to us, that whatever length makes the best movie? Whatever your thoughts are, jump on down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. We want to take a second and thank the sponsor of today's video, Manscaped. Now, guys, you know I love Manscaped. You've heard me go on and on about the Lawnmower 4.0 and that body wash. I love it so much. And so we got to ask, guys, have you started your spring cleaning yet? The carpets need cleaning, the drapes need dusting, and your lawn needs mowing, gentlemen. And you guys know Manscaped is more than just one product. They have a whole lineup of products to help you guys feeling, smelling, and looking your best. And so Manscaped is proud to present to you the Performance Package 4.0, which is the only tool that you need to keep your boys looking, smelling, and feeling good this spring. Now, to start off with, you get the Lawnmower 4.0. Guys, we have talked about this. What is wrong with us? Why have we for so long been using these terrible tools that were never meant for cutting our hair down there? The razor clipper things on our electric razors. That's barbaric, guys. You need the Lawnmower 4.0. And then there's the Weed Whacker. You guys have heard our own Ray Ora talk about this thing. He loves using it to get that hair in your nose and the ear hair. And then they offer lots of other stuff like the Crop Preserver. It's an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. The Crop Reviver. It's a spray-on toner for your balls. And of course, they've got the perfect grooming tool for your face with the Plow 2.0, the perfect razor for the finest shave on that face. So guys, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code CAMPEA. That's CAMPEA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the promo code CAMPEA at manscaped.com. It's time to throw out your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life.